Hi everyone. Welcome to this Hangout about mobile apps. My name is Frederick. I'm an account manager with the South African large customer sales team based in Dublin. And it's my pleasure to introduce Rafael Bitten from our Tel Aviv office. Welcome, Rafael.
Welcome. Welcome, guys. Great to have you here.
So, Rafael, you've been at Google for quite some time already. So would you like to give us a quick overview of the work you do with us?
Yes, before we jump and start talking about presentation, just to get your feedback, if you hear us and see us well, if you can type in on the questions and Q&A box that you have. And actually, this Q&A can help you to write any question that you have through this presentation. If you hear us and see us, please write yes, yay, whatever you want to write. And in the meantime, when we get your feedback, let me give you a short explanation about what I'm doing in Google and why we are very happy to have you here. So I'm working in Google for the last 6 years. In the last 2 years, I'm dealing mostly with mobile. And when it comes to mobile, we have definitely loads of mobile strategies, issues that we need to help our clients, and mobile products, if related to app and to mobile site, etc. And today, we basically would like to help you to understand how to think strategically and how to start thinking about your mobile strategy. And of course, mobile strategy starting with assets. The meaning of assets is mobile sites or mobile application, everything that you can be viewed nicely and in a good way in mobile. And I think if you are in this session already today, you're actually asking yourself the question, what should I do? Maybe you have mobile site and you think about developing a mobile app. Maybe you don't have any of these assets and you think about what you should develop. And everything, of course, costs money and costs time. Yeah, from Cape Town. Thank you, team. See that you hear us. Everything costs money. Everything take development, and everything will help you to get your clients. So we need to find out. We need to help you with this presentation to find out the right way for you guys. Okay. So without further ado, let me start and explain you what we're going to discuss. And I actually would like to start from an overview, all the things that we're going to talk today within this presentation, and start with the very something that we actually see with many clients that we talk. For most of the companies that we discuss with, and we talk with companies in South Africa, and working with Greek clients and Israelis as well. For most of the companies, when you speak about building right mobile strategy, building mobile sites will be the first priority. The only idea or the only reason that you approach this first is mostly because mobile sites are working perfectly across devices. You don't need to kind of adapt them to different OS systems. Mobile sites most of the time are cheaper to develop and more relevant to most of your clients. Another thing is when it's come to changing or to updating or to testing, it's much easier to test when you do it through a mobile site and not through an app, because you don't need to update the application, send it back to the store to update it and to approve it, and then your clients need to download it. So for most of the companies that we actually talking today, we talk about building mobile site and starting first with mobile mobile site first. I hear there is some echo. Are you hear me well? If I would, I'll get your feedback so I can maybe change the microphone to the presentation. Moving forward, so apps, when it's come to application, is very relevant for a highly engaged clients. And when we speak about highly engaged clients, are clients that already know your brand, clients that already know your product, and clients that basically would like to come back and to use the app because the app gives them some kind of value they need and they cannot get it from an app. We'll see some examples later on this presentation to follow up this point. Some business models, and maybe you fit into one of them, some business models are very relevant to app-first approach, which means they start developing app first. Most of the business is based on app. We'll see an example for that later on. Most of you guys don't. Most of you should put your focus, put your efforts, put your money and your time building mobile sites. Regarding to e-commerce, and I'm going to present you some research we did with some more companies. Regarding to e-commerce, what we see when it's come to e-commerce, that most of the action, when we talk about action, when buying and everything that is commercial based, happening in mobile web. Maybe some clients are using apps, and we will see different apps they're using, but maybe some clients using apps to do other commercial activities, but the buying actually happen within mobile web. And the last and not least, the most important thing is app engagement is very high, but most of the time is spent in social, if it's Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, WhatsApp, etc., or entertainment, if it's YouTube and a music application. So most of the applications that are very valuable for the clients are not really the ones that are, I would say, not related to non-entertainment or non-social use. So if you are here, I guess you are very open or very exposed to tech news. And if we see the tech news, and if we see, the amount of time spent on apps, we probably believe that MWeb is nothing, won't help your business to grow, because everybody's spending their time in apps. Every probably vendor that's coming to you talking with you to develop an app first. And that's what we see from the first glance, that 86% of the time spent on apps, and only 14% of the time is spent on site. And this is basically research based on data from Flurry. And if we do a deep dive into this, that we see that most of the action, or most of the engagement, is actually happening in gaming, 40% in gaming and entertainment, and 28% in social. Okay? So, and if you're doing that and diving further, we actually see that this is the same. This is like, again, kind of like making it a bit more deep dive to it. 86% time spent on apps, 40% in gaming, 28% in social. But from the 40% of the time that users spend on site, most of the commercial tasks actually happening there. And if you're a performance client, and if you care about transaction, if you care about anything that's related to the customer buying or putting their name, email address, filling a lead, and if you see it in different verticals, most of these actions are actually happening with insights. So it's great to have an app. I will show again later on some examples of clients that do develop apps, and it's working mostly for them. But if you are facing with the question, what should I do first? Definitely a mobile site is what you should do. Definitely this is the first step in terms of all of the different reasons that we are actually said, but mostly because the users, when it comes to transactions, when it comes to actions that are relevant and matter to you, users are doing it via mobile sites. Last but not least, what's actually happening when users are downloading the app. So if you look on the right side, you can actually see the top 25 free iPhone apps that users download worldwide, and we can see that most of them, as we said, are socials. And some of them, I see Pandora is a music application. YouTube is we can put it under entertainment. And if you go all the way down to number 22, you see eBay. So this is basically the only application that is not categorized under social or entertainment, and see where it's been located. Again, kind of emphasize the message that users are mostly using social and entertainment apps, and more focused, I will say, clients or companies app like you want to do. And if you look on the left side, this is more concerning, I would say. When users get new smartphones, they are downloading apps like crazy. But what's happening is after 30 days, most of the apps they're using is, out of 64 they download, they use only 12 apps. So how we can make sure that you can be in these 12 apps, we're going to discuss it later on in this session. But still, this is a very low number, and yet probably it's very hard to aim for. That is the reason, again, mobile site is the key. So if you are not convinced by now, and I think you'll be a bit, let's talk about apps and site, or both. What is the strategy? Okay, so I always say site first. Who is doing it? Most of the companies. And here we got two different examples of companies that decide to go with site first and develop mobile sites that are very relevant for the client. On the left, we see an example from a client called Progressive. This is an insurance client in the US that they decided to first align with the offline messaging they're doing. So the presenter is the same presenter. The offering of the saving is the same offering they're running, if it's on TV, if it's on radio, if it's on any billboard ads. And when users are getting into the site, they help them to get exactly what they want in a very fast way. So as you can see, this is a mobile Optima site. On the very top, next to the logo, you have the option to call directly to the sales, or you can actually fill a very short lead form and get the quote. And this is very, very important when you think, and you're going to have a follow-up session by Jenny Gove in the upcoming week that will talk about what are the main principles about mobile. This is one of them. When users are getting into a mobile site, it's highly important to make sure they get what they want as fast as possible. It means that there is no need to tire them with different forms or like with different questions that don't need it. And of course, if you have a call center, as you can see here, allow them to call you. Another thing is the example for 1-800-Flowers, again, an example from the US, flowers company that are doing massive work when it comes to mobile. This is one of the, I would say, top companies that always testing and optimizing their mobile site, always checking what is working, what is not working, maybe bigger picture, maybe smaller picture, different buttons, different layout. And the thing that they decided to go from the very beginning, the mobile site to be fully functional, and from A to Z, user can start their journey and finish the purchase via mobile. Sometimes talking with clients and reviewing mobile site, we can see that some clients start or create mobile site that maybe 60% of it is ready for mobile, but when you move to the most relevant fun places or pages within the site, like sign up or purchasing, you've been actually redirected to a desktop site. Okay, so this is a no-go. In 1-800-Flowers, I highly recommend to check both sites and to see how they're doing, how they building well-designed and client-focused sites. Let's talk about app-centric models, and I actually took an example from Israel. You probably know the kind of service in global called Uber. In Israel, we have the service called Get Taxi. They actually get global. They go to New York, to London. And the idea with Get Taxi is that you can get a taxi wherever you are. I'm standing in Ben Yehuda Street next to the beach, and I would like to get a taxi as fast as possible. This is a model that is very app-centric model. I'm there. I'm having an application that have all my details, that have my credit card inside. I don't need to log in every time. I don't need to put my password. They can share. They can use the location identification they have built in within the app, and they can use push notification to tell me the taxi already arrived if I put, the cell phone back in my pocket. So this is a very good example for a very app-centric model. The users can enjoy this service by using an app. When the user needs a taxi, they open the app and get a taxi. It's a very frequent usage and very easy to use an application. So when you think about creating an application, for example, for car renting, can be a great opportunity. For car renting, that I need to rent a car immediately when it comes to I'm on the airport or I'm in a public place that I would like to get notification or kind of identification where is the closest car rental next to me. That can be a great opportunity. Another thing is you can see an example from Hotel Now, which focusing or actually aiming for people that kind of stuck, kind of looking for the last minute deals, and have again all their details and login and credit card inside, and they can open the application very easily without the need to search. Everything being used, they serve you the result or by search or even by your location, and you will get the last minute deals. Both of these examples are very app focused. It doesn't mean that you cannot do them in mobile site. For example, Hotels Now can be definitely translated to a mobile site, but the capabilities that apps provide them within this service is something that you would really like to start with application. Again, talking about application for 2 more minutes. Applications are a bit more complicated to build because most of the time you need to approach third-party developer. Most of the time, they're more expensive to build if you compare them to build mobile site. And the most important or the most challenging, I would say, part is when it comes to application, everything that you need to update need to be done through the developer and actually require from you to update the version of your application, which means you need to resubmit it back to the store. So this kind of complicated things when it comes to mobile apps, but still, if you are fitting into this model, probably app will be the first step. And let's talk about the last part of clients that use sites and apps. So companies basically that doing so are companies that start with mobile, really nailed it, and want to move for the next level. The next level for them means how can I provide more capabilities to my most loyal users. Okay, so if we look on the example, eBay kind of provide the core of the capabilities are provided within the mobile site, but within their mobile app. The idea behind developing a mobile app is I can get push notification if I'm auctioning or if my auction is over soon. I can get specific suggestion that I can get from the app because I'm always signed in. So everything that is more personalized, I can get it from eBay. As well, some of the capabilities, not in this specific example, but some of the app capabilities are offline capabilities. So if it's relevant for you and you can develop them and it can be an extra for your mobile site, this is definitely something you should approach. Again, growing through sites and applications both together is mostly for clients that really move forward, really nail their mobile site, really know what they want to do, and they want to push it forward for the most engaged clients. Another piece to consider when it comes to downloading an app, and you need to think about yourself. To download an app requires from you first to actually download the app, and second to sign in or to sign up if you don't have a user within your company or the company that you're actually promoting. The issue with this is for clients that do not know the brand or do not know the service that you're providing, to do 2 to 3 actions in order to get an answer for the need or for something they ask for, it's a bit more challenging. So that is the main reason that most of the app owners that have mobile site actually create their app after they nailed the strategy they have within mobile. Okay, so how you should approach this. First, when you build a mobile site and you're going to discuss it with Jenny in the next session, you need to build a mobile site that fits to the user need. That should be the first priority, not the design or the image that are look cool or any kind of very video that's starting in the very beginning. And I saw many different sites that focus on the design, but on the way it's look and not the way that the user will use it. And it's the most easy thing to do because most of you are very capable in terms of technology and in terms of understanding how to use mobile. And if you will test your own site, and you can see there are some parts that are not really user friendly. That should be your focus. Make your site user friendly. Make the whole funnel from the very beginning. If it's the sign up, if it's the purchasing, if it's the image that they see, if it's the speed of the site, and you will discuss this with Jenny, make it very focused on the user. The second, if you are regarding to commerce, and it is not only product, if you're in travel industry, and if you're selling insurance, or if you're selling any kind of service, the conversion part of your mobile site should be very focused, which means in terms of forms, there is no need to have million fields that are not relevant to you. Maybe they're relevant to your CRM, but are not relevant to the clients. The conversion button should be very easy to track. And the most important thing, the payment process. If you can have third-party payment, PayPal, Google Wallet, anything that can ease the pain of putting credit card, or even maybe take a picture of the credit card and scan it. Anything that can ease the pain of the client to fill all these forms and push them from the conversion is highly appreciated by the users. The third thing, And this is the 25 mobile design principle, and we're going to share with you the presentation, and you have the link that you can see it before the presentation that Jenny will give you, that you need to think about the 25 mobile design principles. And these principles speak about usability and about speed and about what you share with the client and what you don't need to share with the client, and how you make sure that the images are aligned, and all of the things that we actually, all this information get from a research that we did with actual users within mobile phone should be part of the discussion when you create mobile site. Regarding to app strategy, for some of you that will fit, regarding to app strategy, what you should do or what you should think is, if I'm going through this path, if I'm developing an app and putting a lot of money with a third-party developer, I need to define what's going to be the unique capabilities and what the app is actually providing me for my most re-engaged users. This is if you are having a mobile site and you think about creating a mobile app. If you're an app-centric model that you would like to promote app first, you need to make sure that everything that you do should be easy and fast. Think about the Get Taxi example, or think about the Hotels Now example, that I can get into the app, in 2 clicks, I can get what I need, I can get what I want, and I can move forward with my businesses or with the thing that actually matters to me. The second thing is how you can create re-engagement with the application. So some of the apps that you have in the market have push notifications. So how we can create push notifications that are relevant for the users and not bugs, not like annoy him. How we can get beyond providing him some feedback or some data that is relevant for him. And last but not least, how you can promote your app to the right audience, to the audience that you know is ready. So if you have the ability to show them, and I show you an example in the next slide, on your mobile site, that you have an app, that you develop an app, how you can make sure that you show it to the right audience and that they will download it and will use it in a smart way that is beneficial for them. Okay? So getting started, we have some multi-screen vendors. You will get the presentation with the link. We have multi-screen vendors that are approved by us. Some of them are online companies that are not related to locations. Some of them are in the US that can actually help you to start the conversation. Before you approach this, I will highly recommend to read the web fundamentals that speak about some technical resources and some guidance, and of course the principle of mobile design. What you should need to think, what you should need to talk with this vendor in order to create the right mobile site. Having this on the table with any vendor that you will choose, if it's on country or if it's from the approved vendors that we have, will make you more knowledgeable and more confident to actually ask and create the right mobile sites. And most of you, if you are here, probably have an account managers, and most of your account manager can help you within the process of thinking how to create a mobile site, and maybe even review the mocks that you probably can create or can get from your vendors. It's very important to start the journey as soon as possible, but doing in a very, very strategic way, in a way that can help you to understand what your client needs, what you can provide, and even in phases. You don't need to create full mobile site from the very first week. If you're a lead page, if you can actually deal with leads, you can actually start with creating a lead page generation page that actually can help your client to fill their form, and somebody will go back to them, and by then you can actually develop more capabilities to your mobile site. So this is something that is very, very important, especially in this period. I see that there are some clients from South Africa. We see that in South Africa we have major penetration of smartphones, and in the next year going to be very, very, very challenging or very interesting in a way of how companies will deal or will behave with the new mobile users. Okay. Last but not least, before we jump to Q&A, and I'm sure that you have some, when you promote your app, how you can do it on the best way, and we'll discuss it. So if you have a good, solid working mobile site, and this is an example from Priceline, Priceline.com have a site that you can actually book your hotels or cars or anything that you want related to travel to a mobile site. When they develop an app, they actually every time or the first time, so you log into their mobile site, you can get this banner that tells you, okay, we have a promotion, this kind of promotion banner. We have an application. You can download it, but you can easily dismiss it, and you won't see it in the next time that you are coming and you're visiting the site. This is very, very important. Every time that you build an app, or every time that we see companies that building an app, they're super happy, they're super proud of the new app they develop. The first thing that they do, every time you get into the mobile site, what you get a pop-up that is actually blocking your whole site. This is the worst user experience, because you're actually bothering your user, the one that actually came to buy your product or service. So this is a great example. Don't over exaggerate when promoting it, and don't push it in front of your client. The most important thing is that you don't see it from this example, but if you go into priceline.com, if you dismiss this banner, on the bottom of the page, you have another link that you can actually, in your own time when you want, you can actually download the app. Again, this is very, very oriented for clients that are doing both. If you will take one thing from this conversation, is going with mobile first, going with mobile site first. This is your strategy from the many different reasons that you do. If you want to move forward, if you feel that you're ready, mobile app is the next thing, but it should bring more value for your clients. That was kind of very fast and very short for me, kind of an intro to the next session that you're going to have next week with Jenny. I'll be more than happy to hear your thoughts, to hear your questions. If you have anything, feel free. I will read the questions and I will answer them using the Hangout.
Thanks very much, Rafael. That was really, really interesting. And to our viewers, if you do have questions, you can post them on the right-hand side of the screen. You'll be able to ask your questions there, and we'll bring them up. But maybe just to kick things off, Rafael, you worked as a mobile specialist for 3 years here at Google, and how did you see the current presentation or what you just presented? How did you see that evolve over the 3 years?
Okay, this is a great question. I think we can divide it to exactly two scenarios. The first scenario is the client that are actually thinking about building mobile strategy, and what's happening for them. They're facing with the fact that they go to their Google Analytics or to any tracking service they have, and they see that they have a lot of traffic coming from mobile. And this is kind of the phase they need to decide what they should do. If they build a mobile app, or they start with mobile site. Most of the clients that we see today, most of the clients that we talk today, start with mobile site. I would say in the last year. 2 years ago, apps were very, very trendy. Everybody started with apps. But today, when clients are understanding you should be very, very strategic when it comes to mobile, most of them start with mobile site. And again, some of them don't explode, which means if they are on commerce, or if they have on, for example, I have a great example from insurance, they don't make full capable site from the very beginning. They start with lead page, they test the traffic, they understand how it's work, and in the process, they still get amount of clients coming from mobile that they can provide them an answer, and on the same time, they're actually developing a full capability site. The second part is apps. Some of our clients are app-centric. Some of our clients are developing games, or some of our clients developing dealing with stock market and developing application that the mobile app capabilities are highly important there. So I think for you guys sitting on this or viewing this Hangout, you need to understand what is your focus. I can assume most of you guys can start with mobile site, but for some clients, the mobile app development is still the strategy. So this is basically the thing that we dealt with. I think the most important thing to understand is, Jenny going to discuss it in her presentation as well, is when you're building sites, sometimes we don't test it ourselves. We don't understand what the user pain when it's come to using our site. So when we sit today with clients, and this is happening in the last 2 years, when we sit today with clients and actually show them the site they build or different site example, there are very simple things that can be fixed very easily and can help you with your conversion. So my recommendation, if you're there or if you're starting on or if you have some sort of mobile site, testing and improving your site will help you to get much better results. And this is the most important thing, because if you build something and you just leave it for the next year or so, you won't get so much benefit or so much value from building a mobile site, because people probably use it and drop in a place that is not relevant for them. Any question from our lovely crowd?
There doesn't seem to be one yet, but I'm sure they're out there. So if and when they come up, we'll discuss them. But in the meantime, I'd actually like to follow up on that. You said one thing to do is to really drill into what is your focus when you choose which asset to build. So what would your recommendation be of perhaps specific questions that an owner of a company could ask versus then maybe someone who wants to present upwards in an organization on some ideas?
Great. So I just repeat the question. Basically, to give you the tools, if you're if you're standing in this decision, how to be, if we need to build a mobile site or if we need to build a mobile app, which question you can actually ask yourself and ask the team. And I see there is another question from Tim Gregory that I'm going to relate it in a second. And Nevis, great. So I think the most important thing for you, as if you are marketing or if you're a CMO, if you're sitting on this kind of junction that you need to make the decision, is to think about the user. What the user need from me, what the user actually need from my service or from the product I'm selling, and how I can make it easy on him. So if this, starting with a lead page, let's start with a lead page and build a mobile page that can be lead generation. If this is a full funnel or a full site, let's think about site that's very easy to manage and easy to kind of interact with, that is very highly relevant for the user. Again, the focus is within the user, the focus is what we actually can bring them, what is the value that we can bring them, and if this value can come from a mobile application, because they will get some sales because I'm pushing them notification, and sales or coupons are very big with my business. Or if the process of being signed in and have all my details, because this kind of repetitive usage, probably an application can be a solution. Again, everything starts and ends with the user, what you can bring them, what is the value, and I'm sure every single one of you guys know the user much better than both Frederick and myself, and you can, from their need, you can actually start with a strategy. Okay, let's jump to the question from Tim. Can you give us your thought on responsive site for mobile and desktop? Amazing question, and I will tell you why it's amazing. I think responsive web design is the biggest buzzword that we have in the industry when it comes to mobile. Everyone say, let's do responsive web design. This is easy because you get you buy one, you get all, everything, you just pay once or you update once and everything is updated across platforms. Let me divide it for two parts. If you're a branding client or if you have kind of a site that is mostly to kind of inform people, it can be a newspaper, it can be a kind of blog, or it can be a site that you can inform about your new product but nobody's buying from them, I would definitely recommend to go with responsive web design, because you're doing updates, and if you update very frequently, all the platforms are being updated. The issue or the concerns, in my point of view, start when you talk about performance clients. When you talk about clients that every click matters, every conversion matters, and you need to help your clients to converse as fast as possible. Most of the time, due to the reason he came from mobile, most of the time that he needs to continue with his own business. And when we start with responsive web design, the issue that we're facing is something are getting lost in the way. Some forms are getting wider, bigger, the conversion button is getting lost, and these things are kind of very challenging to control. Let's say it that way. It's not easy to create a good responsive web design that looks amazing on desktop and look amazing on mobile side. So if you're a performance client and you're developing or you're kind of like dealing with the question, what should I do? Dedicated mobile site probably is better solution. Still, responsive is a solution, but you need to make a lot of effort. You need to dedicate a lot of time to create something that is very solid. My recommendation for performance player to move forward with a dedicated mobile site because it's easier to manage, easier to optimize, and it's easier to change things on the way after you test and understand what's working and what's not. Okay, let's move to the question. Team, let me know if it's answered a question. I can follow up after. Let's move to the question from Avis team on South Africa. In the rental car industry of SA, where do you see app usage for the next coming year? Okay, so basically app usage, I will say, in order to use the app, you need to download the application. My concern in South Africa, and my concern in South Africa that due to data connectivity, everything that's related to downloading or to do something that relates to more data usage within your mobile phone probably can be a bit challenging. I would definitely think that for car rental, um, application is it's a good place to go. Specific for Avis in South Africa, I would think mobile as well should be a good path to follow. Mostly because of data usage, mostly because of you're going to have a lot of new users that are not very knowledgeable with mobile, and you want to make it easier for them to understand what Avis is actually suggesting. This is a bigger conversation. We can have it in a different channels, but I think app usage can be a bit challenging, although it's fit to the business model. Still, I will make sure to continue on the mobile website journey. Any other question from the crowd? You're very shy today.
Uh, there doesn't seem to be one yet, so maybe while we wait and see if there are other questions out there, I'd like to go back to mobile sites versus sites specifically for desktop, and more specifically the measurement between the two. How do you see things developing on that front? Is cross-device measurement starting to become more common using analytics or other tools?
Okay, so cross devices is very, very important, especially when we see people moving not just from mobile site to an application, but from a desktop or from a tablet. Uh, we have two solutions basically available. One of them is through AdWords, with not requiring anything at the moment beside updating conversion tracking. It's currently working between desktop and mobile, not within mobile apps. I would say the most or the more accurate solution that I would like to talk about is using Google Analytics. And if you know Google Analytics, with Universal Analytics is the new version of Analytics, we can actually track cross-device conversion across apps, across mobile sites, across desktop, as we said, across networks and devices using something that's called user ID. So every application or site that you guys have a signing in mechanism with username and password, you can actually, with the help or with the assistance of Google Analytics, you can actually assign a user ID to this user and basically kind of align with all of the different devices that are using when they log in different devices or different assets, if it's mobile apps or mobile site. This is very, very big. My recommendation for you guys, if you don't know about cross-device in using Universal Analytics, and you do have sign-in mechanism, to do a deep dive into it. Highly relevant for commerce, highly relevant for travel, and highly relevant for every action that you, I would say, suspect that start in one device and moving to other device, and you would like to get more info about it. Okay, I see there are another question from Vittorio. I hope I spelled your name right. As an online travel agency, what do you think about the booking funnel process? Isn't it too long for a mobile app? Do you have any example about the average time on app dedicated to purchase? Very good question. Let's say that beside or not just in travel, the funnels, the purchasing funnel in many different sites are very long and sometimes very complicated. Jenny, and I would say I highly recommend to attend the next session. Jenny going to discuss it with very solid example in her next presentation. That is the reason I didn't want to steal her examples. But basically what you will see, or what we actually see right now, is the funnels are way too long because they ask questions that sometimes are not relevant to the users, sometimes are not understandable to the users, and the most important thing are not error-free, which means you actually see in, I would say, in big companies that I'm dealing with across the region, that you do have fields that you can fill, but there is no auto-correction. So the clients are actually filling a form that is very long, pressing next, and then you need to understand there is something is wrong, something needs to be corrected, and this is something that needs to be fixed. This is one thing. So forms in general are way too long, and there is no right or wrong in terms of vertical what you need to do. There is right or wrong in terms of users. Everything that you must have should be there. Everything that you don't need to have or it's not important for you, or maybe you can complete it when you're finishing the purchase funnel, shouldn't be there. Okay, this is one thing. The second thing is most of the good funnels that I saw in different purchase funnels are 1, 2, 3, which means I actually tell the client that you're going to purchase your product in 3 different steps. First, your details. Second, if it's anything that's related to the product, to confirmation, and third is payment. So if we can put it in 1, 2, 3, or even 4 steps, but it can be understandable to the user what they're actually going to see, how many funnels are in front of them, how much time it's going to take them. This is something that actually helps the user to understand, okay, I can finish this funnel in 3 minutes, I will do it right now. Another thing that is very important when it comes to funnels, sometimes I start something but I cannot finish it. There is need to be a way to finish it in another device or offline, or maybe to call to this call center if you have, especially on travel. So in every part of this page, I need to have a call button. You saw the example on Progressive. Or I can send myself the reservation and continue it using desktop or using other device or even using my mobile. But now I don't have time. In terms of time, you ask what is the. Let me just check it. I just don't see the question. I don't want to miss your question. Okay. The average time on app dedicated to purchase, it's differ, but let's say that users are not spending more than 6 to 10 seconds in sites or in pages they don't understand. At the moment they don't understand something, they just blank out. Okay. We have another questions from Eddie Cranner. Have you noticed any specific difference in user and consumer behavior between mobile, tablet, and desktop? Great question. Okay, mobile users. This is not kind of a very. There are a lot of research about it, but you can definitely look on the research that we have on the consumer barometer. I'll give you my take. Most of the time when we speak about mobile is using it in 3 major ways. First, they're on the go and they need to find out something. Second, it's mostly in front of TV or any offline a kind of medium that they saw something and they want to start researching about it. And third, it's when they have very urgent need to solve any issue. In all of these 3 things, you need to understand that your service, your solution should be helping them to get what they want, which means they need to find the answer as fast and as soon as possible. When it's come to desktop and tablet are mostly being used at home, mostly during Wi-Fi, and people kind of react like this is on the desktop space, which means they're more laid back. They maybe watch TV or they're doing something else, but they're more open to get more, I would say, longer files or more information as a comparison to tablet. The only thing that you need to be concerned when it's come to tablets, our tablets are not supporting Flash. So if your site, your desktop site is Flash-based, you should be very concerned and try to convert it to HTML5 or to any format that being support a tablet. Desktop is, I guess, most of you are very knowledgeable. In desktop, most of the time, still, users with the internet have attention deficit, like all of us. Internet is the heaven for attention deficit. But users in desktop are more forgiving for, I would say, bad user experience if you compare it to mobile. Still, you need to be concerned about mobile usability, but I would say less and less. And it's more, I would say, laid back. Have a bit more time to get the information they want.
There's a follow-up question from Tim, who earlier asked about responsive design, asking about mobile sites. Does it make more sense to deliver on specific mobile domain, e.g. m.mysite.com, or rather to deliver a different experience for mobile phone users on the same www domain as the desktop site?
Okay, this is a very good question. Basically, the idea, the users are not very, they're not paying attention so much to the address. Let's start from this. So if it's going to be example.com/mobile or it's going to be m.example.com, that's not very kind of, the user not exposed to. The users are more exposed to the experience they get and what they get from the site. The only question that you need to ask yourself is in terms of SEO and indexing your site, what's going to be better and easier. I'm not an SEO specialist, being very frank. I won't tell you this is better or this is not, but this is the only concern that you have. In terms of users, they not really pay attention to the domain. They not really care. They care only about the experience they get. Okay. There was a following question I see about the cross-device conversion from Abyss, right? So let's read it out. Tracking cross-device, you mentioned the user must log in. Are you referring to the login into business website or login into Google? Good clarification. When I speak about cross-device using Universal Analytics, the user must be logged in to your site. They can do so with username and password. They can do so with a Facebook login. They can do so with Google Plus login. Any mechanism that allow you to generate what we call user ID is what you're searching for. Okay, so logging to your site with any login mechanism, generate user ID, and if after that you will log in to your application or to your mobile site using the same credentials or username, whatever they would like to use, you will understand that user ID number 1 logged in on a desktop and user ID number 1 logged in on a mobile app, and you can understand the different action they're doing in each site or each asset, let's call it that way, and understand how each kind of impact each other. Okay, I hope this is made clear. Please feel free to ask if I didn't cover this. Do we have any question, guys, from the crowd?
It looks like we've covered them so far, but if I've missed a question from anyone, please repost it, and it'll show up on the list again, and we'll bring it up. Just in going back to the difference between devices and so on, and combining that with cross-device tracking, how valuable an exercise would you say it is to immediately start looking at say the values from each device and treating them differently in terms of what device you try to reach which user on?
Okay, I think tracking and measurement in general when it comes to mobile, it's highly important. I will definitely. I'm not sure what are the levels or what the clients that we have in this call, which kind of asset they have, but I will definitely make sure that every asset you build should be tagged with Google Analytics, with the new Universal Analytics code. And if you want to even go further, you can tag it with Google Tag Manager. So basically, using Google Tag Manager, you can actually tag your application or your site once. It's a tag management system, and from a web UI, you can actually inject any code that you would like to do. Doing so will help you to understand how things works within your application or within your site. But I will definitely start before kind of in before comparing between the two different assets to make sure that all of your assets are tagged properly, all of your assets are reporting in a way that you can understand it. And as all of you do have an account manager, you definitely can reach to them and to help you with the tag management systems, with the implementation, and with the understanding of the information. Now, how to kind of generate this data and understand how it works, I would say, Frederick, it differ from client to client and from vertical to vertical, but generally, for example, we see in retail that we have a lot of clients that are doing research in mobile, and some of them are actually finishing the purchase within tablet and within desktop because the experience is a bit better there. So we can actually understand the flow, how it starts and how it ends, especially when it's a login user using and you get the data from analytics. This is, I would say, a further stage within thinking about asset. I will start with creating the asset, and within this process, tag them properly and understand what we get from each and every asset, and then move forward to the next level of understand the correlation and what each asset brings us. I see there is question from Tim regarding to push notification. Can you comment further on push notification? Any strategy regarding frequency or other concern? I have 8 people here. These are not all my questions. Tim, 2 thumbs up first. If probably we can turn you like the mobile specialist within your company or agency, and this is fine. Keep the question flowing. That is the reason we're here. Push notification. Very, I would say, touchy, sensitive question, due to the fact that we would like to provide the user very like goods or discount, but we don't like to bother them. So this is my guideline. So when it comes to push notification, if we think we can bring value to the clients, because we know, let's talk about retail or let's talk about travel. We know that our clients in retail like specific product. Maybe it's a specific brand he likes, or maybe in a travel he is traveling to specific destination. The push notifications I will get him should be related to the thing that interests him. I want, if I care about, let's say, specific brand, if I care about Nike shoes, there is no need I'll get push notification because there is a sale for Adidas. Probably this is not my cup of tea. So this is one. In terms of frequency, I don't know if you got it, but some application, from some odd reason, send notification 3 o'clock at night. Okay, from some reason, send you notification about the news or about update. This is a no-go. This is bother the user. There is no reason. You'll send notification in random times, over the weekend, overnight, if this is not relevant. The third and the most important thing is I saw that some notifications are not directing to the right place they should. If you push me notification about sale that really interests me, you need to make sure that when I press on it, I see the right page I need to see and not the general page. In general, I will use push notification again only if it's relevant to the client, only if it's bring any benefit. Doing the opposite will create the opposite, will make the client ignore the notification, will make the client sometimes even uninstalling the application, which I guess something that you don't like to do. Last but not least, there is a lot of thing about re-engagement. Some of we actually even have ads to create. So push notification can create re-engagement, and you need to think about besides sales or coupons or anything that actually can help the user get inside, maybe to get some rewards, maybe to get some any kind of points, etc., not on specific sales. Okay, so this is my take. I would definitely think very strategically when I think about what to push and where to push and how to do that.
And we're starting to run out of time, unfortunately. So, but if there are still any questions out there, please post them, and we'll try to cover them still. But in the meantime, I think, Rafael, if it sounds to me like since more than 90% of goal completions or transactions actually happen on mobile sites, sounds like that is definitely the area to focus on, at least initially. Then, depending on needs, go on to apps. But would it be fair to summarize this as the actions to take is to tag, analyze, test, and repeat?
Fully agree. I think Frederick says it right. I think again after you build your assets, and I assume that you will start with mobile site first. The first thing is to, after you tag it properly and you make sure that everything is, to do a lot of analysis. We spoke about in the beginning about why 1-800 flowers in the US. The reason, and they say it out loud in different case studies, and they talk about the reason they're really, really succeeding in mobile is, I would say, three or almost 4 years ago, when mobile started to get big, they start with a very basic site, with a very basic functionality, and decide to take mobile first and say, okay, I'm going to focus on mobile, and I'm going to develop most of my products and the thing I would like to sell first in mobile, and to test them and to understand what's working and what is not working. How should I improve it? How should I improve the funnel? Maybe I can add, for example, different payment option that can ease the pain of putting credit card, different layouts, all of these things, all of this optimization that they did and our clients are doing are based and actually escorted by data and measurement. So beside building the site and tagging it and optimizing it, you need to measure, and you get all the results by numbers. And loud and clear, every UI specialist that you'll meet in the way can give you a million ideas what you need to do. The decision can be done by data. If you tag it properly and you see how many people are using and actually performing events in analytics, and how many people are flanking out and dropping because something is not working, this is much better from any UI specialist telling you what you need to do. And this is the ground to help you to start the conversation about testing and testing new option and new designs. But definitely, Frederick, I think this is the right approach. The only thing I will share with you, these processes sometimes take a while, but it's highly worth, if you look strategically 1 year, 2 years from now, to start them now, push them in every option that you have. Talk with the people that build the site. Talk with the third-party vendors if you don't have it on your company. This process takes long, but it's highly important to start investigating time, money, effort, and energy to start pushing it now and understand how it's worked when we're going to have in different countries more than 60, 70, 80% of smartphone penetration. And we see it in some countries. We see it in Israel. In Israel, we have by now almost 70% of mobile penetration. It used to be 30, less than 2 years from now. So this is going to be very big, and this is definitely every year everybody said this is the year of mobile. If in 2015 we won't nail it, and when I say we speak about you and the team that's helping you, that's going to be a very, very concerning situation, because our clients will be there and we as companies won't be there.
Well, thanks very much, Rafael. It's been a really, really informative and interesting session. Thanks to all our viewers for all the really good questions. And I guess just before we go, I'd like to remind you all of the upcoming Hangout on Air with Jenny Go to discuss the best practices of mobile design. That's on the 17th of October at the same time. So I hope all of you can join us again. But for now, again, Rafael, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure there'll be many, many follow-up questions from here or discussions.
Cool. Thanks, guys, for joining. Thanks for sharing, and good luck. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting year for you. Feel free to reach to your account manager and the team that's helping you. We have a lot of information to share and a lot of assistance in our belt. So feel free to nudge your account manager. That's the reason they are here for. They get paid for it.
Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great day.